So what do you do if you have 5 interview rounds and no feedback? As a hiring manager, let me first and foremost validate that it is absolutely ridiculous that any company, I don't care what they're hiring for, does more than 4 rounds. It is ridiculous. As an operator, it does not make sense. I've heard every type of rationale in the book. It doesn't make sense. So if you feel it's long, I'm telling you it's long. And unless there is like an insane like scheduling snafu, there is no reason that most roles, including technical ones, I have hired engineers, I've hired product leaders, I have hired UI UX, I have hired them. It doesn't make sense. So if you've had 5+ rounds of interviews and you haven't heard any feedback yet, I'm going to tell you something a little radical. Is everybody listening? I need you all, if you are in hiring processes right now, I need you all to treat these hiring processes in a similar fashion to how these companies are treating you. And the way I mean that is, the moment you step out of the interview, you are now thinking about the next play. Act like that interview didn't even happen. Act like that company doesn't exist and be pleasantly surprised when they ask you back for another interview. But otherwise, that was just, okay, that was just another thing on your schedule for the day because now you're going to this networking event or you're going to apply to this job or you're going to this cafe where you're doing a 20-minute informational interview with somebody in your network who can tell you about opportunity. Act like they don't exist because as somebody who has been unemployed, everything changed for me when I stopped waiting around for them to tell me what next steps were. Everything changed for me when I stopped refreshing my email over and over again, hoping to get an update. Everything changed when I started operating from the mindset that, you know what, I'm going to like just keep it pushing and I will be pleasantly surprised if they invite me back. Not only did I start detaching my self-worth from these interviews because I didn't care anymore. I was like, if you guys don't see what I've got going on over here, well, A, you're lost, and B, I've already moved on to these interviews over here, or these networking events over here, or this social positioning over here, or whatever it is I'm doing. Because the reason why these companies are able to play these games and the reason why people are doing what they're doing is because they know that folks are waiting around. The reason why they're lowballing even more so than historically is because they know that folks are just they're desperate, for lack of a better way to say it. So if you come across as poised and as positioned and as, I'm here, I'm having a great time, I'm researched, you're still going to prepare. And then the moment you leave that office or the moment you turn off your Zoom, you're focusing on something else. I'm telling you, it is a massive game changer in your process because the people who are excited for you will not have you second guessing where you are. And I know that doesn't feel good. I know that some companies are overwhelmed and they've got this and that. And then sometimes there's always errant things. But I will tell you, as somebody who's been doing this for 10+ years, when they are excited about you, you will know. They will make it plain. They will either communicate proactively. They'll let you know what stage in the process you were in. They'll email you after a couple of days to let you know they're still deliberating. There are signs. So don't gaslight yourself because you absolutely crushed that interview for what it's worth. Because a lot of the time what we do, and this is coming from somebody who's been there, I sit in the car and I'm like, damn, I thought I did a great job. I thought we had a great connection. I thought that it went really well. And it did go well. You didn't hallucinate that. However, you have no clue what kind of games and politics and whatever is happening behind the scenes that you're sitting at home, scrolling, refreshing. You may not want their nachos. Is all I'm saying. It's hard to think that way when you're also trying to figure out how you're going to pay bills. For many of my community, unemployment has run out. But I implore you to reverse that thinking to being, I left it all out there. I did the best I could. And now it's time to move on. Actually, because my unemployment ran out, because I have people to feed, including myself, because my landlord's asking about rent or, the credit card company's calling. Because of that, I actually cannot even focus on what they're doing. Either they like me or they don't. I'm moving on to the next thing. I'm moving on to the next opportunity. I'm looking at the next certification. I'm keeping myself because I don't have time to look that way. And the moment you shift that perspective, I'm telling y'all, things change. But it's really important because I fell victim to this. And I know so many folks in my community who are working with me one-on-one as well are like, maybe there's something wrong with me. No, as we're seeing in the news every day, there's absolute malarkey happening at companies. And also there are companies that are positioned as stable who are laying off tens of thousands of people. Be surprised when they're like, it's been a couple months, We're excited to offer you the job for da da da. You weren't even thinking about them. You forgot about them. That's the energy I want you to be carrying into the rest of this year, into the summer. Let's see what they have going on over here. Because you might have accepted another role by this point. So that's like, oh, could I juggle 2 jobs right now? If y'all saw my video about FU money, y'all saw my video about FU money. Well, what do I do? Can I juggle 2 full-time jobs right now? Get some FU money? Maybe I could do this on the weekends. This one's remote. Yeah, I could probably get this done. That's how you start thinking about it.